continue our study of the Tariq Mitzvot. Today we're up to the 241st Mitzvah, and that is Shalom Linkom. We're not allowed to take revenge. It's a negative commandment in Parashat Kedoshim, and the Pasuk could not be more clearer when it says two words, Lo Tikom. Perek Yutet, Pasuk Yudchet. And the Chinuch explains it that we are refrained or we're limited from the Torah, we're banned melakahat nekama mi Yisrael. We're not allowed to take revenge against our fellow Jew. He gives a classic example, kegon Yisrael shehera or si'el lehavero. A Jew caused his friend either type of pain or he did something wrong. It doesn't matter, any item. And he says, "V'nohag rov bnei adam sheba'olam." The way of the world is that people like to get even. They like to settle the score. And the Chinuch tells us that that's the derech hateva. Therefore, you're fighting the normal culture. It says, "Shelo yasuru melachapes acharei mi shehera lahem." They're gonna search him down ad shigmeluhu kema'asehu, until they pay him back according to what he did. Or yachibu, or they'll cause him pain, just like he was caused pain. The Lashon of the Safra writes, ad hechan koha shel nekama, even to the extent it goes to Amar lo, his friend says, hashileni magalcha, could you lend me your sickle? They cut the wheat with it. And he said, no, I can't lend it to you. The next day, he tells him, can you lend me, the other guy says, can you lend me your kardom? Your kardom is your axe. So yesterday when I asked you to borrow your sickle, you didn't give it to me. I have the axe, but I'm not giving it to you because you didn't do it to me, so I'm not doing it to you. So that's a kavanah in order to take revenge. Now what's the shortish of this mitzvah? So the Chinuch again gives us a tremendous musar, Rabotai, that this is something that we have to remember throughout our lives. Sheyeda ha'adam v'yitin el libo, that a person has to know and put in his heart. It's interesting the way he says two things over here. It's possible that a person could know something, but it remains in his brain. It doesn't enter his heart. So he says, first of all, you have to conceptually understand it and then bring it down to the heart, which means live according to this principle. Now what is that? Kichol asher yikrehu, that anything that happens to a person in his life, mitov ve'adra, whether it's good, whether it's not, hu siba shetabo alav me'et Hashem baruch hu, it was brought upon him not from anybody. The ultimate cause of all events in this world is the gorem rishon, and the siba rishon is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. ומייד האדם ומייד איש אחיו לא יהיה דבר בלתי רצון השם יתברך. Nobody could touch you, nobody could harm you, nobody could do anything to you unless already the will of the Boreh gives the permission. על כן, therefore, כשיצערוהו או יכאיבו האדם, let's say a person gets pain from somebody, ידע בנפשו כי עוונותיו גרמה. These are because of his avonot this is happening. והשם יתברך גזר עליו בכך. It's all from God. Everything is an act of God. And the mashal that the Baalei Musar give is that it's not the stick that hits. It's the person that's holding the stick that hits. But if you're a dog, all you see is the stick. So the dog runs after the stick to bite the stick. But he doesn't realize that the stick has no power. It's the one that threw the stick. The same thing, Kivyachol, the person's only getting angry at the messenger. However, the messenger was sent. And if it was sent by Borei Olam, so the person then accepts. V'lo yashit machshebotav limkom mimenu. So what are you taking revenge for? Ki hu enu sibato. He's not the siba, it wasn't him. He was sent by God. That's the first reason that he says why a person has to not take revenge. It's a lesson in emunah. Then he goes on to say, V'od to'elet rav lehashbit riv ula'avir. A person has to cut the divisiveness and cut the mahlokot. When a person takes revenge, obviously it only becomes magnified and intensifies. And therefore, he says if a person acts in a way of peace between him and his friend, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will act with peace with him. Obviously, this mitzvah applies bechol makom, in all places, bechol zeman, it applies at all times, it applies to male and female alike, and somebody that transgresses this and has in his heart to take a revenge, he transgresses this, but there is no malkut on this again, because this is a lav she'en bo ma'aseh. It's a lav, but there's no action. Now, even though there's a way to revenge where you could do a ma'aseh, let's say, I know he was violent or something, but since it can be transgressed without a ma'aseh, the rule is any lav that can be transgressed without doing a ma'aseh, even if you did a ma'aseh, the Chinuch's opinion is en lokin alav. But as we said yesterday, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows how to settle the score. Even if Beit Din is not allowed to put a punishment, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has many, many messengers in order to give the person the proper retribution. So again, the lesson of Lotikom is in order to know that everything is min hashamayim.